Time for Nigel, auto conversation. Bajaj Auto Management is with us.
Well, that's right. Let's focus on Bajaj Auto. The November sales numbers were in line with estimates. Exports surging close to 24% on a year-on-year basis for the month of November. The EV share as well has improved. To understand about the past quarter, both domestically as well as the exports, and how their share in the EV market is ramping up, we have with us Mr. Rakesh Sharma, the Executive Director at Bajaj Auto. Hi, Mr. Sharma. Good morning and good to see you, Ben. Well, first up, let's talk about the domestic market. Was the festive season as good as you expected? The broad feedback is that the two-wheelers actually had a pretty good time. Was it as good? If you could give us a growth on that front. And also if you could give us a hint about the exports, particularly Nigeria, as you have told us in the past, from 20,000, 25,000, 30,000 is what Nigeria did. Has it improved even from there?
Good morning. Yes, indeed, there was something to cheer about for the festive season. It started a little bit slowly, but in the second half of the festive season, particularly in the north, which is driven by Diwali, there was a real surge. And as a result of which, I think it has lifted the industry performance. First half, the industry was at about growth of about 6% odd, but now with this movement, I think we are looking at a nice 6 to 8% outlook for industry growth. And as has been happening, the top half of the industry, which is the 125cc plus segment, grew faster than the bottom half. It continues to do so. And I think going forward, that same pattern should continue.
Okay, and so domestically, 6 to 8% is what you're working with in terms of an industry growth for the year, right?
Yes, absolutely, at an overall level, but the upper half should be in double digits.
Got it. And what about your market share according to your calculations? And the earlier question that I asked you about Nigeria, give us an update out there. It's been looking better.
Sure. So I think as the dust is settling, because, it's a very hectic period for registrations, etc. But as the dust is settling, our understanding is that the market shares the competitive positions are more or less the same. Our strategic focus, as you know, the focus area is the 125cc plus segment, where we hold a solid number two position at about 24-25% in that kind of a zone, which is about, just a few percentage points behind leadership. So going forward with Freedom, which is the new CNG bike, and some new launches, particularly aimed at youthful segments in Pulsar, we will be trying to beat the pace of growth for the upper half of the industry. And Nigeria, like you asked, continues to show steady performance. If you will recall, I think September we retailed about 25,000 units, and October was about 33. And the retail numbers which just came in yesterday for November put Nigeria retails for us at 36,000. So that's a nice improvement. We hope to hold it steady in December, but December, by the end of the month towards Christmas, the market sort of shuts down. But innately, the retails are definitely showing a month-by-month improvement.
Okay, so the export market's also looking steady. You're looking to build on market share here in the domestic arena as well. Mr. Sharma, good morning. Speaking of market share, let's get to the hot debate on EVs, right? Because there, you've been taking big strides. And I think now Sudarshan tells us, our colleague, that now I think market share has moved up another 200 basis points. You're number 3, I think, right now in the pecking order at about 22% market share. Now, what do you see ahead? Next 6 months, will you take the number 2 spot? Are you gunning for number 1? And I ask you this in context of the competition. Ola has launched, a couple of new models, and they've come out with very aggressive pricing. Just tell us what would be the average price differential now, and whether this is at all a concern for you, and what's the market share you are hoping to have in EVs, say a couple of months down the line?
Yeah, I would rather look at the momentum. We were 13% a year back last November, and now we are 22%. but and not so much at the numeric position, because really between the top three, the difference is only of 3,000 units odd, something like that, you know. And frankly speaking, the number one position is of value only when you have a strong competitive ratio. That drives the business value. Otherwise, it does give you a little bit of a bragging right. But what we would want to do over a longer term is not just aim for a numeric position, but really solidly enhance our competitive ratio, which hopefully will then put us in some kind of a commanding position in the industry.
But
And as
sir,
far as sorry.
yeah, the other point on this competitive pricing, I think the competitor is now offering products, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, 44, 45,000 onwards. It's really aggressive. What does that do to the pitch?
Well, you know, we have not seen the product. It's been flashed on the media, and what exactly that price includes and what are the total specs, etc. Before I make a comment about the impact of what competition is doing, one would really like to see it and understand it. Of course, it is very welcome to widen this industry if it is done on a sustainable basis. And certainly, we have a product pipeline beginning probably next 48 hours. We will be starting production of our new platform. And in the next 5-6 months, you will see solid reinforcement of our portfolio.
Okay. Mr. Sharma, hi, good morning. Prashant here. Now, this is a more industry level question. And this is true, this has been true for the last many months. There's a big gap between, Vahan data and the wholesale data for pretty much every player, and it is persisting. So, for example, in Bajaj's case, domestic registrations for the month of November were about 3.43 lakhs. Wholesales have come in about 2.41. And similarly, it's true for other companies as well. Could you tell us what's happening, and by when will this get corrected, or you think this is going to go on for some more time?
I think you see, what happens is that the huge surge which is there in 15 days of pre and slightly post Diwali, it is very difficult for the RTOs to cope up with that kind of a pressure on registration. So that's why the registrations on the Vahan portal spill over from the festive, which this year, as you know, was late October, and spill over well into November. And you will see that by the time the wholesales and the retail start to converge, one will have to really look at the December data. It's not anything unusual. You see, the whole process starts actually September onwards, when companies start to build up the channel inventory so that this spike can be serviced, right? It's a two-tier distribution in the two-wheeler industry, and the stock buildup takes time. So you will see wholesales ahead of retails by a fair margin in September also. And then there is this surge and they start to catch up. So really, it is this 3-4 months. One has to be very cautious about looking at limited time horizons and trying to extrapolate either for the company or for the industry on that basis.
So it's not as if, if Vahan data lags, wholesales or Vahan data, it's not one picks up and the other slows down. I mean, it's just bunched up sort of registrations happening together because of the
it's a lead lag effect, and sooner or later there will be convergence unless someone goes crazy and is just billing or doing wholesales, which I don't think is the case.
All right, Mr. Sharma, I would like to know about your new launches as well. And the Triumph, well, I think it did pretty well initially. But any new launches on that front, bigger bikes? I'll be personally very interested. So if you could update us on that. And I think the EV bike is something that you'll have spoken about as well. So how soon before we see that launch?
Yeah, so we did have I don't know if you missed it, that we did have a very nice introduction to the expansion of the Triumph range with what we call the Speed T4, which expands this modern classic portfolio now, which we have the Speed 400 and we had the Scrambler. What the T4 does is to address the customer who wants to get into modern classics, which is the classic style with superior performance, but wants an easier riding and a friendly riding experience. And so we've got that covered with the expansion of the T4. The other thing which has happened significantly is that a slew of big bikes have been launched by KTM just about 2 weeks back. And these fundamentally address the adventure in the sports segment, bringing to the customer the absolute latest and the world-class bikes of KTM. And that was just done about 2 weeks back. The Triumph big bike portfolio, we are pressing ahead on it, and slowly but steadily, it is doing well and expanding. When you put all of this together, combined with all the kind of action on the ground to build motorsports, I think we are trying to engage with some fundamental drivers which will expand this market at the very top end.
Okay.
You know, Mr. Sharma, when I want a bigger bike, I'm looking at the 650, 700cc plus, so that's what I refer to. But the T4, yeah, I mean, I recall you did that a couple of months or so ago. But thanks a lot for joining in. You're sounding reasonably optimistic about business prospects. Next time around, we'll delve a little bit more into this EV vertical in particular with regard to sourcing of cells as well.